Creator of all that is, it is in gratitude that we stand. It is in our standing that we feel your hand. Our size is small, for we are one, but we are large, for we are not alone. Our heartbeats prove tirelessly of your love. This notice of liability document has been mailed to the following persons and entities. To Angela Spire, as principal at the Oregon Mayors Association, is responsible for sending it to its 26 mayors as agents on Oregon. To Dr. Charlene Williams, as principal and director of the Oregon Board of Education, is responsible for sending it to its 25 school superintendents as agents in their districts. To Jason Myers, as principal and as executive director of the Oregon State Sheriff's Association, is responsible for sending it to its 36 county sheriffs as agents, and to Becky Hultberg, as principal and as president and CEO of the Oregon Association of Hospitals and Health Systems, is responsible for sending it to its extensive network of hospitals, OHSU, and the Oregon Health Authority et al. As agents. All totaled, the above-named entities were sent 154 letters of notice of liability for their deceitful collusion with the now-bankrupt United States, Inc., all caps, whose corruption deceives, misleads, and defrauds the people, the men, women with their progeny, on their lawful, God-given rights. By mail, by being posted on our website, and now being aired here. This is public notice issued by our Article 1, Section 1 Social Compact, as provided in our Oregon Constitution. The notice of liability they received reads as follows. And this was highlighted for each of the recipients. Notice to the agent is notice to the principal. Notice to the principal is notice to the agent. This is notice of your liability for your deceitful agreements and collusion with the now bankrupt and defunct United States, Inc., all caps. Your corruption deceives, misleads, and defrauds the people, the men, women, and their progeny of their lawful God-given rights. By your acts, for example, the Public Readiness and Emergency Preparedness Act, the PREP Act, which authorizes the Secretary of Health and Human Services to issue a declaration to provide liability immunity to certain individuals and entities against any claim of loss caused by, arising out of, relating to, or resulting from the manufacture, distribution, administration, or use of medical countermeasures. Since when are, quote, covered persons and, quote, covered countermeasures, or anyone exempt from moral, ethical, financial, and constitutional actions? The people deny your exemptions that in any way dare override our choices and decisions of life, liberty, health, and well-being. By your acts, and in collusion with the corrupt WHO, the WHO, posted on our website, orsja.org, our docket number 05152022A, a remonstrance to the World Health Organization, aka the WHO. You have broken moral and ethical bounds, including your own laws. Monetarily, your blatant greed has bankrupted our nation and created a threat to the security and well-being of its good people. You, by your collusion, have usurped our rights and exclusive authority to self-govern as set forth in both constitutions, the United States of America's Constitution, circa 1859, and the State of Oregon, aka State of Oregon Constitution, circa 1859. Mandates and rules are not law. Be informed that any actions to further advance your agenda and that attempt to circumvent, undermine, and or interfere with the health and well-being of the living men and women with their progeny on the land and soil Oregon will be considered a violation of United States federal and state laws. Involvement in such actions is treasonous, and those persons found guilty of violations are subject to fines, imprisonment, even death in accordance with the United States of America's Constitution and the Nuremberg Codes. Whereas the new COVID-19 strain EG.9 pandemic is being fraudulently deployed as a deadly virus, when in fact it is not. The current situation is no different than with the previous strains of COVID-19. The United States Inc., all caps, has reinstituted limited masking for now and is looking into reinstituting lockdowns. Masks are not protective in any way for COVID-19 or for any other virus and are in fact detrimental to the public's health. Distancing and lockdowns have not been effective and have proven to be extremely detrimental physically, economically, and psychologically. The COVID-19 shots from all pharmaceutical manufacturers have been definitively shown to cause never-seen-before increases in morbidity and mortality. All this information has been gradually offered or sent to numerous State of Oregon, aka all caps State of Oregon, aka all caps Oregon State Inc. bureaucrats. Not one response, not even an acknowledgement of receiving the information has come forth. However, we do have proof of service. 25 tranches, that is 650 plus documents related to COVID-19, masks, the experimental mRNA genetic shots, etc., have been sent to Oregon bureaucrats. All COVID-19 mRNA experimental shots introduced in 2021 have been shown to be ineffective in protecting people from getting or spreading the virus and have been shown conclusively to be causing unbelievable genocidal levels of morbidity and mortality worldwide. Microscopic evaluations of blood are showing marked abnormalities in those who have received the experimental mRNA genetic shots. The COVID-19 shots ingredients are not publicly known. Rhetoric coming from United States Inc., all caps, is that everyone will be getting the new COVID shot, including those who have refused it in the past. The Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly, OSJA, is the provisional government of Oregon's Article 1, Section 1, without rebuttal. The State of Oregon, aka all caps State of Oregon, an illegitimate de facto color of law incorporated subdivision of the United States Inc., all caps, Washington District of Columbia, is predicated upon constitutional violations. The incorporated governance running Oregon State Inc., all caps, et alia, has no concern for the health, safety, and well-being of men, women, and their progeny living on the land and soil, Oregon, nor for their own families, friends, neighbors, constituents, or even themselves. The OSJA, after holding a grand jury and petite jury trials, has issued a notice of liability to the multiple incorporated entities. Oregon State Inc., OHA Inc., OMB Inc., etc., who in the past and may in the future attempt to enforce any of their future edicts upon the men and women on the land and soil of Oregon. Notice of liability. In full faith and credit, as one goes all, the State of Oregon, aka all caps the State of Oregon, aka Oregon Inc., all caps, et alia, and the Oregon Health Authority, aka OHA Inc., all caps, therefore must assume all responsibility, risks, liabilities, and hazards incidental to the State of Oregon, aka the all caps State of Oregon, any of its subdivisions, or as a subdivision, including instituting unlawful decrees such as lockdowns, masking, COVID shots, etc. Oregon State Inc., all caps, et alia, assumes full financial responsibility for any damage they cause to flesh and blood men and women with their progeny on the land named Oregon, whether injured, deceased, or dependent in perpetuity regarding the State of Oregon's, aka State of Oregon, all caps, irresponsible response to the bogus COVID-19 virus and its bogus mutations, Delta, Omicron, and now EG.5, or any other alleged pandemic. The people on Oregon implemented ex parte Milligan, nullified martial law with our Article 3 Civilian Court of Record. This in turn led us to our grand jury on Oregon as an Article 1, Section 1 social compact, Oregon's provisional de jure government, a government with an Article 3, 1 Supreme Court claiming original jurisdiction found in Amendment 7 lawfully and legally on Oregon in 2021. Accomplished by the Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly, aka Article 1, Section 1, signed, sealed, stamped, witnessed, and with proof of service properly, then published and freely viewable on www.orsja.org. These were acquiesced to by the U.S. DOJ, USMS, FBI, USMC, State of Oregon, aka all caps State of Oregon's executive, legislative, judiciary, 36 sheriffs and 38 prosecutors, provost marshal and JAG, defaulted to many times over. There's a jurat, there is the clerk of court signature, and this was signed on the 9th of September by 4 witnesses. This is our notice of liability. You are on notice. Thank you.
They do not want to let go of this. They do not intend on losing here. And we do not intend giving it back to them.
And then the bullets started flying. And then he jumps out of the car. And he's got both his hands up. And he got out of the car, and he had his hands in the air. He's like, just shoot me then. This is what you want, just shoot me. And they did. They shot him dead. With his hands in the air, and I saw it. I swear to God. He was just walking with his hands in the air. And they shot him. And they shot him dead, and then after he was down on the ground, they shot him 3 more times.